Hi everybody, Shirley here from the James Kennedy Public Library, here to demonstrate for you our September adult craft activity. If you're not able to come to the library on our craft afternoons, which we've started up again in person on the second Monday of each month, we are still doing take and make, so hopefully one way or the other you'll be able to do these fun activities. So for this month we are doing a do-it-yourself paper, a book page wreath. So basically we'll take an old book and pull out the pages and upcycle it into making a wreath that you can make seasonal or you can decorate however you want, but the focus will be, of course, the book pages. So we are doing this low end. So rather than buying a form or anything, we're just going to take a piece of cardboard and cut it. I'm going to use this camera so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. So the first step is we take our cardboard, and this is just from a cardboard box, and we need to cut it into a circle to make our form. You can make the wreath however big you want it to be. So I'm making the easy way out. I'm using a paper plate to do my outside line, and then a bowl to do my inside line. You can use a compass or a ruler to measure it and make sure you're accurate. But this way, I'm not particular on how big my wreath is, so this seems the simplest way for me. So I'm going to switch my camera view. I'm sure you could do this without watching, but that's the way it will work. So here's my cardboard and here's my plate. And I'm just going to take a mark around the outside of the plate. So that'll be my exterior, my outside line of the form. Okay, see that? All right. And then for the inside, I'm just using a bowl. The directions I found online recommended you have your form be between 2 and 2.5 inches wide. Wider if you wanted to have it be a thicker or more of a flower rather than a wreath, but that's kind of your design. I'm doing simple, so I'm using a bowl to do it. I'm just going to try and make sure I've got it about the same. Got it centered, so that's, let's do it this way. It looks good to me. So then we'll just draw our inside line. And as you can see, I'm trying to do it by the seat of your pants. Anyway, so that's the first step, is making your form. Now we're going to cut this out. And you can either use scissors or use an X-Acto knife. The X-Acto knife is easier, but of course not everybody has them, and you do have to be really careful with it. So I have doubled my cardboard so it doesn't cut the table underneath. And I'm just going to start along the edge. You don't need to watch me do this, so I'm going to pause it and we'll come back when we're ready to do our next step. So everybody, here is my completed ring. I actually ended up switching and using my scissors because I found it easier to do. And as you see, it's pretty rough, but this doesn't have to be perfect. It's just the base that you're going to glue your paper pages to. So you just want something to give you the shape. So then once that is done, your next step is going to be tearing apart your book and getting your pages ready. So I have this old book, and if you get a take and make kit, you'll be able to just, there will be a book in it or book pages. I'm not sure how many. We're going to do this as a test run to see how many pages we need. So I am going to, I think I'm just going to tear the book pages out. This is an old book, so it happens really easily. And then you can either, the directions I saw online said you can trim the edges off or leave them all raggedy. The other thing you can also do is, you see there's a lot of white on the edges. And I picked this book because it's old and I like the yellowy color. Your book may be not as old, or if you have something, if you want pristine white, you can do that and get a newer book that is nicer than this. But I think I'm just going to trim off my rough edges. I'm just going to do one because you don't need to watch me do this. What I read was there's a lot of rolling and gluing. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your book page and you're going to roll it into a cone. I don't know how to describe that beyond just doing it. Basically you take one corner and you just roll it until you have your cone shape. And you're going to glue that. You can either use school glue, and I didn't grab that, so I'm going to go grab that right now. You can use school glue or glue sticks or a glue gun. You're just going to want to put it like a dot of glue right here and glue it and make those. And so you're going to need to make a whole bunch of these to go around the outside of your wreath. So I'm just going to pause and make a few of those, and we'll see how it goes. So I'll get some glue so you can watch. So I just went and grabbed a bottle of school glue and a glue stick. This is a permanent glue stick, so it should be a little more durable. And I just want to see which one of these seems to work better for making our cone. And the other thing to keep in mind when you're making your cones is that you'll need to make 3 different sizes, and you can do this however you want, but you're going to put a bigger size out here, and so you'll make it less tight. And then when you do a different size, you just need to roll it a little bit tighter. And then for your inside ones, you need it to be smaller, so you'll just roll it up quite a bit, okay? So let's see how the school glue works. We're gonna make this a bigger one. So I'm just gonna put a little bit along the edge here. And we're gonna make this our biggest one. So we're just gonna roll it a little bit. You can see this is really an old book as it is actually cracking. A newer book is not going to have that acid paper issue and might actually be a better option for you. We're going to go ahead and try it. See, this might just be because I was playing with this one so much. There is one glued and it is not staying. It's not staying. So I'm going to try. I'm going to sit it down. If it'll glue on, weight will hold it. And no, it's not gonna. I'm gonna try the stick. See if that works better. I don't want to have to hold it. Otherwise, you can also use a glue gun. I was thinking I didn't want to do that either. So my brain has suddenly forgotten how to do this. Okay. Okay, so I have to say glue stick seems to work better because it's holding, whereas this one did not hold at all. So we are going to use the glue stick, and we are going to make a whole bunch of those cones. All right. Wouldn't think it would be so hard, would you? I think maybe I'm just not holding it long enough because I'm not patient enough. Hi. So my paper is cracking more than I want it to. So I am going to go get it. This one did stay, but look at how the pieces are at the bottom. Now, when you glue this on, it'll be the cool yellow. It'll be my cool yellow color, but it's going to be an issue. You'll glue these on and you'll cover them up by other ones, but your top one's going to show. So I'm going to grab another book that's not so old and see if it works better. So you just hold on. Okay, so I grabbed an old paperback romance. We've got a ton of these here, and I'm going to try. It's not that old, and as you can see, the paper is better and not as brittle. You don't see it ripping when I bend it. So I'm hoping that will work better. I'm going to switch to the other camera so you can watch me mangle some more. So here's the book. You can see how much stronger this one is than the other one because it doesn't tear quite as easily. I'm going to take a page, trim the edge. Now, one of the directions I said, I was reading about making these wreaths, said to make them all 4-inch squares. This particular direction didn't say to do that. Now, I don't know if that would make a difference. So see how much easier this rolls without cracking. So I'm going to put my glue. I'm going to blend up my glue right along here. See if the glue stick works better. I don't know if you can see, there's not all those cracks like there was in that other one. So I think this will work better. And there it's glued. So I need to make a whole bunch of those. So I'm going to pause and make a whole bunch of those, and we'll be back. And make my glue stick. So the problem with pausing in the middle of this is I forgot what I've talked about. I have been working on folding the petals, and I'm watching them open. I have discovered that I'm just not patient enough. So I'm going to show you what's been working for me, and then we'll glue them on the wreath form, and we should be good. So here is, so I've done, my biggest ones are like this, and they're just a single roll and very big. That's going to be my outer layer. My second layer is a little bit tighter, like this. And then my third layer that I'm showing you, I trimmed the paper down to the edge so the words is everywhere. And I've discovered that the glue stick seems to work the easiest. So I've just been running down the side with the glue stick and then rolling it up really tight. These are going to be my innermost inner row of petals, I guess, for lack of a better word. And what I've discovered is I just need to hold them. I'm not patient enough to hold them as long as I need to. And I'm noticing that that's why they're popping apart. See, I have that one right here that I just did that popped apart. So let's see if I can roll it back up with one hand. I hold it. One more to do. I decided I needed about 12 based on the size of my form. When you do yours, you'll need to make that decision, because if you make your form different sizes, or if you decide you want them fuller or less full. Okay, so I have made 12 of these with just one loop, 12 that are a little bit tighter but still only one loop, and then 12 of the smaller tight ones. So as I said, I discovered it works pretty slick, and as long as I hold them long enough, they dry faster with the glue stick versus the Elmer's glue, but either would work. So now the last step, well, I guess not the last, the next step is to glue them to my form. I am going to use hot glue for this, just because I think it will hold better. So basically, I'm just gonna put some hot glue, and I need another stick in there. I'm just gonna put some hot glue on here and just do a few. Loops around. It doesn't have time to dry. And then I'm going to put my wreath pieces on here. Let's see. I'm just going to leave, I'm going to do it about that size, leave just a little bit, maybe an inch over the end. And let's put them around. I'm putting them right next to each other. I'm guessing that 12, based on what I looked at, when I looked at it, it looked like 12 was going to be a good size for this. So we'll see how we do it. I didn't say. And again, I don't think you need to watch me do this, so I'm going to pause. Okay, so here's my first layer put down. I am hoping this looks better when I'm all done, but this is our trial run, so hopefully. So this was my outside ring, and now, as I said, I made slightly smaller, better shaped ones. I was thinking for my next one. So these are supposed to be glued in between the ones you just did and slightly down. So if you see, can you see how? So you're just pulling it in, so it's like the next petal of the leaf, of the flower. So I'm gonna do, again, hot glue and just put this on here for each one. and angle it just the way I want it to look. So it kind of fits in between. Hopefully this will all look good when I am done. And again, I don't know that you necessarily want to sit here and watch me do these because it's going to take some time. Plug them in. So that looks, so it's like the next layer. The samples online, I think, look prettier than what mine is. I think it's because I'm not flattening them down here at the bottom. So I'm going to do that so that they stick a little bit easier together. It's supposed to fit each one. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to tell you is I ended up actually making a few extras. I did not have enough to go through everything. So I'm going to pause and do this next row. So here is my wreath with my next layer of cones glued in. I have one more to do, but there is another step that they recommended you do at this point, and that is to trim off some of this paper in the middle because you're going to fold it over and it's going to be too bulky. So I'm just going to do that right now. Just trim off this little bit in the middle. Yeah, I don't trim off my glue and make everything fall apart. So. This. Anyway, so here is the wreath as it is now. My final layer of flower petals, I guess, are like these, and I made these a little bit smaller, and I trimmed everything off so it's all of the white space. So it just starts with the words, and they're again going to go just right in between each one of these. So I'm going to just use my hot glue, and I've been going through a lot of hot glue to do this and put them in between each petal. Glue them down. That looks. Hold it for just a second. Actually, I might have to hold it for a little bit longer than a second. That's going to be my last layer. Together right there. So I'm going to pause the video and finish gluing, and then we will be back. Okay, so I wanted to show you something before we keep going. On the back, you see where I cut the petal pieces, the paper pages. What we're going to do is we're going to flip those over, and those are all going to be glued down. I'm thinking I'm going to do that now rather than wait, because these are the points from the ones I just added, and I think it's going to be too bulky. And that's what I told you to cut them. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead and trim these a little bit better than I did my first time around. Can you tell that I didn't do a trial one this time? Usually I do one before I do the video so that I am prepared and have everything working well. But this, I decided I was just going to do it. We'll be changing things soon. I put the next layer on, they're going to pull down over the top of these. We're going to go ahead and trim this all a little bit. I can't really do that. I don't want to flatten too much either, so that makes it more challenging too. Three that I glued on already. I guess I'm going to have to. So this is how I do crafts. I just kind of play around until they work. So I am not going to cut those off because they're already glued on, and that will probably be more challenging. So we're just gonna go ahead, but you see how I trim this all up. It's gonna make it easier for me to glue these other ones in the middle because I don't have all of that stuff in the way. So here we are. I'm gonna do one more right in front of you, and then we're gonna pause, finish it up. So glue gun, and right in between, where did they go? That's how they're looking. It makes another petal. Okay, so I'm gonna pause. Thank you for your patience. Okay. So here is the middle of my wreath, all done. And now what I need to do is I need to pull all of those these here and back over and glue them down on the back so that the front becomes all nice and clean. So that's my next step. I'm going to go ahead and use the hot glue gun again because it's quicker and it seems to do a good job. If anybody knows a good way to get rid of all of the strings that come around from hot glue, I would love to hear that. Just doing some dots of glue to pull down. Straightforward. And I'm going to pause again so you don't have to watch me do this. And you don't have to edit it out. Just put the glue and pull it down tight and let it dry. We'll be back in a moment. Okay. So here's the back of my wreath with these all folded down. And the front is here. So everything is kind of sticking up. I am thinking I might just kind of fold things down a little bit tighter, flatten them. I'm not sure. I kind of like it big and poofy like this. I'm going to show you. I'm going to switch my camera view. So here's the wreath. If you would hang it up. As you can tell, it's a little uneven. Somebody who does this a little bit more, I'm sure we get it a little more even and do a much better job. But I don't think it's too terrible. You can fold these things down, flatten them, fluff them a little bit if you want to make it a little bit better shaped. You can paint them. I've seen people spray paint them. I've thought about looking at it. I'm thinking, you know, I could do these inner ones and just take a scissors and make a point or curve the edges. I think that might make it a little bit more interesting or a little bit more balanced. So this is where I'm going to stop today. If you want to do this, there's tons of places online where you can get much better tutorials than this. Because I'm certainly not an expert. And there's also different kinds of designs you can do where you would fill in the middle or where you would leave the middle blank and you can make it seasonal and change it up with Christmas ornaments or Thanksgiving or fall or spring or whatever you would like to do. As I mentioned, you can paint this if you wanted to, spray paint it, shape it, all different kinds of ideas, different ways of making them. So this is just one idea, and as you know, it's not terrible, it's not great. But practice would make perfect, I think. So if you did this more often, this is my first one. Normally I would have done a practice model, but I wanted to see how badly it would go if I just did it. So I just did it. Your kit we will put together, take and make kits for you. It will have written instructions and a link to this video. It will include a part of a book because you don't need a whole book. I ended up, I think, with 15 in each row. 15 to 20, I think the last row was 14, but 15 around there. So you need about 45 pages. So we'll give you more than enough to do that. And if you are doing this and run out of pages, we can certainly provide you with more. What else will go in there? It'll just be the cardboard and the book pages. You'll need to provide glue or a glue stick. The glue stick seemed to work better once I got used to it. A glue gun or some way to glue, more heavy duty to glue it onto your wreath. And then you will also need a pair of scissors or or an X-Acto knife to cut your cardboard into the frame shape that we used. Some of the, you know, this is fine for at home if you don't need it fancy. One of the places I read recommended if you're giving it as a gift or want it to look more nicer finished, you could use a single piece of, you know, you could decoupage the back with the book pages, or you could cut a piece of felt and cover it or something like that. You can also attach a hanger, like a piece of ribbon or something. That would be fairly easy to do too. I tend to just sit my wreaths on things and let them hang that way. So that's the way I am opting to go. So I do just want to put in a quick plug for upcoming things. We are in the midst of our Wreath It Up fundraising. So if you're interested in making a wreath, one like this, or any kind of wreath that you'd like to make, and donate that to the library for our silent auction, that would be wonderful. That runs in, the silent auction is in October and November. So we're just right now starting to get the wreaths out for people to pick up and take home. We provide a form if you need one. We have lots of different options, or you can just make something and bring it in if you like. It's entirely up to you. Along the same line with wreaths, we are working with a local crafter to schedule a Halloween wreath making event. There will be a materials fee for that. I believe it will be using mesh and making like a witch's hat and those kind of things. We haven't gotten the details worked out, but that'll be in early October. And that there will be a materials fee with that because I expect it to be fairly expensive to buy all the materials. So if you're interested in that, just give us a call. You will need to register in advance. And what else are we doing? Oh, crafting wise, our Cricut with Christopher series is back, and Lisa Christopher will be in teaching us how to make leather earrings with the Cricut maker that we have. So if you're interested in that, please call and reserve your spot. I think it's coming up really quick. So anyway, thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed watching me struggle with making a unbalanced wreath, and you have a great day. Bye.